listening to the Betmaker Show. This is the NFL Week 2 betting odds preview for Monday, September 9th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Betmaker Show, Brian Blessing.
All right, we're diving right in here. Football is underway. We've got, for the most part, week 1 under our belt. We're doing this on Monday morning, so we got 2 Monday night games that we'll touch on briefly. Recap what we saw, then look at the numbers and the reaction to what we saw in week 1. Week 2 is one of the craziest weeks in the NFL because teams know if they go 0-2, 87% of the time they miss the playoffs, so teams circle the wagon. So a lot of what you saw in week 1, believe me, it's going to be night and day different come next week. Brian Blessing in Vegas. Cam Stewart is north of the border. He knows his NFL, and we'll have a couple of chuckles, but we'll go Gatling gun through this. We'll try to cry through some of the tears, right?
Oh yeah, I still want to. I still
through some of the tears.
Patricia out. I don't care if he's got. What was he walking on a? Oh yeah, that's another thing. I got my crutch here. Like enough is enough.
Well, the good thing is if you hit him, you get away from him.
Right? I'll tell you what we saw from the Lions, and Brian, we're transparent on what we do. We say we hit winners, we hit losers. I thought the Lions were one of the plays of the week, and going into the fourth quarter, I looked like a genius. 18-point lead and weird timeouts, not able to put the game away, and just absolutely horrible coaching, horrible everything from that team. An absolute disgrace by Patricia, the Lions, and tying Arizona, that's a joke.
People are so starved for football. I will say that at the end of the thing, I said to the people, give yourselves a round of applause, because I do a football event here in Vegas on Sundays, and it's Arizona and Detroit, and the place was packed. It was a circus act all day. And we do give jerseys away at the end of the.
You know what? I've learned people like free stuff. Like they hang around for keychains, let alone jerseys.
The big prize with the jerseys. But this thing, and I said to my buddy when they were going for the 2-point conversion, I go, man, my recliner's calling, but part of me wants them to get it, And so now we're there another hour, and the place was packed, and no one left. And I got on the microphone and I said, give yourselves a round of applause. I said, you're all still here watching Arizona and Detroit.
Exactly. It tells you about betting, right? It tells you about fantasy. That's the thing about the NFL. Everyone's talking about the great product, but really, what kind of great games did we see in week 1? We saw a lot of blowouts, a lot of crap, a lot of mistakes. The Steelers were an absolute train wreck, I guess. And you might as well, it's week 1. We don't want to anoint the Patriots champions, but if Antonio Brown just shuts his mouth and does what he's told, and I know he's not going to do anything to piss off Belichick. They'll just say, take a hike, buddy. We already got a Super Bowl champion team. But, hey, things happened. We're going to get these teams with inflated numbers this week because, Baltimore blowing out Miami. So we've learned one thing, Brian, betting over the years. Week 1, it's, don't get too high, don't get too low, and maybe we can find some spots that we can attack with value, because I tell you one thing, people are going to remember what they saw last week, and sometimes that's a big mistake.
All right, the doubleheader on Monday night, real quick. Houston, New Orleans, it was 7. We are seeing a handful of 6.5. 52.5 is the total. Bill O'Brien, I don't know what this guy's doing, but he put all his eggs in his basket for this year. They don't have first-round picks for the next few years. Deshaun Watson, if they can keep him upright, they're a moderately interesting team. New Orleans is the one to me, Cam, on paper, right? It's kind of the Patriots of the NFC. The problem is how many punches to the gut can you take with the devastating losses at the end of a season. The one thing I'll just say very quickly about this game, I want to form an opinion on New Orleans because they've been a monster because they had Ingram and Kamara. So they were really a run-based team. Kamara is a great player, but is Kamara an every down back? And I wonder if throughout the course of the season, New Orleans reverts back to Drew Brees throwing it 40-plus times a game. So I want to see that tonight.
No, that's a really good point. And I think they're going to throw some more Taysom Hill into the offense. Brian, you know him. They're going to put him up different positions, run some wildcat. That's what the Saints are going to try to do. Very interesting line. You see some 7s popping down to 6.5. I kind of want to take the Texans in the game. It looks like a high total as well. I think people just assume that this game is going to go over in a track meet. I'm not too sure about this. I really, really, really want to take the dog, Brian, if I can get 7, but I'm not sure if I trust Bill O'Brien as a coach.
And then the Denver-Oakland game, I kind of like Denver before the Antonio Brown thing, and now it's up from pick to 2.5, 42.5. Yeah, Oakland can kind of circle the wagons and say that distraction's gone. And well, how'd that work for the Steelers in the first week? I don't know. This Oakland thing, it's a fire drill. It's ridiculous. Mayock did the right thing. He's going to draw a line in the sand and he's going to suspend them. Then the guy says, "I'm sorry." And
what a joke.
Well, he says he's sorry because he wants $19 million.
Yeah.
And they buy it, and then they go back, and then he secretly records the coach and puts out some video. This guy, master plan was to get fired, to get out of there.
It's unbelievable.
This was he led that organization around on a leash. The Raiders look so stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The thing is, I'm not sure if we would have fell for it, Brian, but it's absolutely – Antonio Brown's a jerk. Basically, back in the day, the Patriots wanted him. The Steelers didn't want to give him to the Patriots. He's a little crybaby. Wah, wah, wah. You got your money. So, yeah, everything's a ploy, right? From the problem with the feet in the machine to this and that. He played them for fools. He played them like suckers, and I can't believe it. We knew the apology was fake. It's unbelievable to me, the collusion, though. And then New England gets this guy after when everything's said and done. It really pisses me off. It sounds very similar to, moves that they make in the NBA where the players can do whatever the hell they want. Hell, get a dream team, bring your friend over. It actually makes me sick the way Antonio Brown played the Raiders. And I'm not even a Raiders fan, but it's brutal. I like Denver earlier, but you're right. Maybe Oakland uses this to rally. This game is very, very difficult. Initially, I look at the under as well. Not a lot of offense there, but maybe a lean to the Raiders now. Maybe these guys show up angry and get it done. Very, very tough games for Monday night.
All right. This is crazy. On top of it, and I'm trying to see if they actually got him back. The Raiders loved this wide receiver, Keenan Doss, and they cut him because of Brown. And then I think it was the Jags picked him up. And then they were going to, the Raiders wanted to get him back. And the Jags say, "We'll give you a season salary, not a practice squad pay. We'll pay you like full freight, like $400,000. And he's like, "Okay, I'll stay here." So they lose on like multiple fronts.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, it's crazy the way they got played. Hey, Mayock, welcome, buddy. You're from the TV business to a general manager of a train wreck team that's eventually going to Vegas, Brian. But this whole thing, the whole Antonio Brown situation, it reeks, and I can't believe he played them like that. Initially, I liked Denver all week, but you're right. You got me thinking now about the anger angle. I don't know. What do you think about the total in the game? Doesn't it seem a little bit high with these offenses? Denver's got a pretty good D.
Well, to me, the play is Denver's D.
Yeah,
and Flacco doesn't have to go in there and do anything stupid. To me, it was a play on the Denver defense. But they got the rookie running back, but the wide receivers for the Raiders, anybody can look good running around in shorts in training camp. I just don't know how the Raiders put points up.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. Their core was weak anyway. We don't know how Jacobs is going to do. No one really believes in Carr. Sure, they're at home, but nobody, they're going to be moving eventually. You know what, Brian? I like Denver all week. I think I got to stick to it. I'd lean to Denver in the under.
Hey, let me clarify this now because I just while we're talking, I had heard that the Raiders went to try to get the kid Doss back, and the Jags said, "No, we'll give you. We'll." So then they threw the kid. The biggest winner in this thing is the wide receiver, is the kid Keelan Doss. He looked really good with the Raiders in preseason. He was like their final cut. So he's going to make a full fair number to be on the practice squad in Jacksonville. Then the Raiders finally buckle and say to the kid, because he said, "No, I'm not going to go." This kid had all the leverage. Now you got an undrafted wide receiver leading him around by the nose. He says, "No, I'm staying here." So now the Raiders give the kid, they got money now. They don't have to pay Brown. They gave the kid a $300,000 signing bonus and a fully guaranteed roster spot for $495,000. This kid was going to be making $50,000. That this kid's going to send flowers to Antonio Brown. He just made $795,000.
Yeah, he's the only one who does like Antonio Brown. I think the guy's a dick. No, honestly, Brian, I don't wish ill will upon people. It's not what I do. You know me. Antonio Brown, what he did, the karma play, if there is such a thing, it's going to be like first game with the Patriots, somebody breaks his leg. Like, what he did is so wrong in so many levels, so unprofessional. He's a clown. Like, this guy's been an absolute clown from the get-go, like a spoiled child. You don't get your way. Wah, wah, wah. Now I get to go to New England, and they're the big winner from all of this. I'm actually absolutely sickened by the whole situation.
We got to dive into these games.
Yeah, we do.
But very quickly on this front. Yeah. I want to get your opinion on this, and that's why we love having you on board. But you know what? Now the Dolphins, this Antonio Brown thing, where a guy, see, no one gets the best of the NFL in any walk of life. They've got an army of lawyers, and the NFL wins everything. This one guy, he beat the NFL. He beat the system. Okay, say what you want about him. He beat the system. Now, the Dolphins, did you hear this story out of Miami? The Dolphins got like rolled by the Ravens, and all the trades and the stuff and the guys they got rid of, and the Dolphins insist we're not in tank mode. That's what the Dolphins are saying. The players are going, bull, we're in tank mode. Now that there are Dolphins players trying to form a mutiny to pull an Antonio Brown to get the hell out of there. This thing's going to have tentacles around the league.
Yeah, no, it's a problem, Brian. And I had an issue with the NBA with the all-star teams, agents getting involved, friends, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, backroom deals. We all know this stuff happens. We talk about collusion. It is happening, and this is a train wreck. They better get in front of this quick, but I can't believe Antonio Brown. You said it. There have been a lot of guys who've gone to Harvard and, Ivy Leaguers, and this is the guy to pull the wool over your eyes. Well, you say it, more power to him. I think it's a scumbag move. I've never liked him, and what he did to that organization was pathetic because he didn't want to play for him. But in the end, he wins again. He wanted to go to the Patriots. He goes to the Patriots. He's the winner. And so are the Patriots. What else is new?
Oh,
rock, Brian.
Listen, there's the prop. What do you think? I'll say this. By week four, the prop will be up. Yes, no. Will the Patriots go unbeaten?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they might lose to the Bills, but we'll get into that. Maybe they lose one game. I don't know. We'll see, Brian.
Tampa, Carolina 6.5, totals 50.5. McCaffrey's a stud. Carolina was competitive against the Rams, and Tampa Bay literally gave a football game away. And the number's understandable, Cam, but you know what? As bad as Tampa was, Carolina, all they got is McCaffrey.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to take Tampa Bay, Brian, but I don't trust Jameis Winston. You talked about it. He gave that game away. Some of the worst throws in the history of the NFL. Not one, 2 pick sixes. Horrible coaching decisions, too. Kick a field goal when you're inside the 5. No, let's go for it. They didn't get it. They dominated the 49ers at home and couldn't get anything done. The points look attractive, but they just seem like a loser team that makes loser decisions in horrible times. I'll tell you, that line's going up to 7. If you like Carolina, wow, get on the Panther train.
Let's make some money tonight.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website at betmaker.com. I think this number's telling you something. Indy's at Tennessee. Tennessee's 344. Tennessee road win against Cleveland. Come home for the home opener, but teams don't want to go 0-2. Colts played a solid game against the Chargers, and their kicker let them down, which Vinatieri, that doesn't happen. But this number is telling. Wouldn't you have envisioned, Cam, this number would have been 3.5 or 4?
I was thinking 4. It's 3. Indianapolis, Brian, as of when we're doing this show on Monday, will be a play at +3, +145 money line. I believe in Brissett. You said it, man. They lost an overtime game to the Chargers on the road. Their kicker let them down. And you know what? I really like this Colts team. I think they're good. They're going to rally behind them. And everyone's thinking, wow, look what Tennessee did to Cleveland. Well, things change week to week in the NFL, and that line seems like a bait line. I'm not going to be a fish who bites the hook. Give me the Indianapolis Colts and the horseshoe, Brian. I'll take the points.
I'll lay the points with the Chargers laying 3 on the road at Detroit, total of 47.
Detroit, these Lions, these pussycats, give them some tender vittles. I hate this organization so much for what they did to me, Brian, in week 1. I can't believe they let the Cardinals come back. you're right. This line actually looks low to me too, but jump on the Chargers now. Hell, $1.60 on the money line. Phillip Rivers and that team should be able to eat Detroit up. Here's the thing. I would love to come back to a team like Detroit, but I see the body language. They hate their coach. They looked at the end of that game, they looked uninspired, uninterested. Matt Stafford tried to give the game away with a pick. The guy in Arizona dropped the ball. They would actually had time left to kick a field goal in overtime to win. There's a problem with the Lions. I think their coach is an idiot. And I lean Chargers too. Phillip Rivers is a pro. They should be able to take care of business on the road.
You know, you look at the schedule, you plot a course for the year. All summer long, the game was 3.5. I said that Bills-Jets game, the number's going to go down to 2.5. It did get to 2.5. It comes back at close 3, but 2.5s were out there. Bills down 16-0. Rally, win the game. I think they get more out of doing that than if they'd have win and convincingly beat the Jets. The defense was terrific. Allen got his act together in the second half. Giants lose at Dallas. I thought, you know, it's a home opener for the Giants. And, you know, I thought the Bills would beat the Jets and lose to the Giants. The number, they put week 2 lines up last week here in town, and the Bills are 1.5 as a result of what they saw.
Oh, wow.
It's 2.5 now. It's not – Buffalo's weird. It's going – they're right back to the same stadium.
That's good. That's a good thing.
I don't know that it's a great spot, but I'm telling you, Manning's a disaster. Barkley's so good they can win any game because of him.
Yeah,
the Giants secondary is a train wreck.
I agree. Dallas threw it all over them. You saw it too. Even just knowing that Zeke Elliott was going to be there, Cobb's open, everybody's open. Hell, Jason Witten, who I could beat in a running race, Brian, and I'm 270 pounds, he's getting a touchdown. Wide open receivers and tight ends the whole day through. And I like the fact that Buffalo stays in New York there. They stay at the Meadowlands for another week. They're acclimated to the stadium. They play the Jets there. Weird. Just a weird scheduling snafu there with Buffalo taking the Giants on again. And the Bills feeling it. What a comeback win. I thought this would be a great spot for the Giants, but right now I'm kind of leaning Bills. Very tough game, though. I really want to take Buffalo in this spot, but it's tough after their emotional win. Will the Giants respond? But it's one of those things. I don't trust Eli Manning.
Yep. And then Baltimore after the blowout win on the road against Miami. Lamar Jackson, a big day. Arizona traveling east.
What do you think about this one?
I don't know. It looks
win by, you're thinking 17-21. Arizona looked good in the last part of that game, but was that Detroit making dumb decisions? Baltimore could probably, name their number, but they already blew Miami out. Now you're getting an inflated number, right? It probably would have been about 10.5, 11. Now it's 13, Brian. Tough game, but I don't think I'll be betting the Cardinals.
Well, and just, when you need the computer to go fast, it doesn't go fast, Cam. You know how that works?
Yeah.
All right. All right. You know what I mean?
I do.
Right. Well, explain that because I keep looking for no. Real quick, I want to do here. I know this. This is from memory, but what I don't remember is what happened in week 2. Come on, Mr. Computer. Come on. Here we go. In week 1, the Ravens.
Yeah.
Last year beat the Bills 47-3.
Unreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looked like the second coming. The Bills were a travesty. The Bills ended up having the second best defense in the NFL and would have been number 1 if it weren't for that one game. All right. In week 2, after winning the first game 47-3, the Ravens lost the next week 34-23 to Cincinnati. So don't go overboard with what you last witnessed for whatever reason. Hey, there are a bunch of reasons. Dolphins are terrible. But for whatever reason, Harbaugh, when he's got 3 weeks in training camp or to put a game plan together for a team, they maul teams. But now it's a regular work week, albeit it's Arizona, but that's a big number.
It is a big number. I won't be rushing to the window to be betting the Ravens. I want to take the Cardinals in this spot. They were so bad in the first half of that game, Brian. Against Detroit, though, was hard to. But, hey, they got a little bit of confidence. Kyler Murray started to make them some throws. He threw some balls on a line in overtime. And, and when push came to shove, Detroit killed themselves. But Arizona actually should have won that game in the overtime, and they stalled. So, yes, I will not be laying 13. A lean, if you're going to make me bet it, I would take the Cardinals with 13 points, yes.
New England and Miami, Patriots on the road are laying 16.5, 47 is the total. I'm just curious, is that a first half number?
Yeah, exactly. Patriots minus 31.5. I don't know what to do. The Dolphins, you talked about tanking. I have no idea, Brian. New England can name their number. They always have problems with Miami, though. It's one of those things, but it's a different Miami team. Oh, God, like it's almost too easy. Like, what do you think, Brian? But Patriots by what do you think this line will go to by game time? I'm thinking close to.
It'll be at least.
I'm thinking it might get to 18.
Yeah. No,
it might get to 18. 16 and a half right now. Who's betting Miami? God, I don't know. This will know if the product is fixed, because New England should be able to win this game by 55.
The only thing, there's only one reason you'd even consider stepping up to the plate on this is that it's a division game, right? And these guys know each other. And okay, I'm trying to make a case. All right, New England going down into the heat of Miami on the sunny side of the field in September. I mean, these are the only things you can come up with.
Yeah, and Baltimore went to the Heat and absolutely kicked their ass. I like weather as much as the next guy. Like I don't know. The only how is New England not going to win this game unless they literally go out, bang strippers, do a bunch of drugs, and wake up at the field like still out of their minds, and they'll still probably win by 17 and cover the number. Like New England comes in healthy, they should win this game by 40 points. But I don't know, man. They put these lines up. I'm actually surprised the line's 16.5. I thought they would have posted, an 18.5, a 19. Like the Dolphins are that bad, right?
An early movement here. Suggested opener was Dallas 7 at Washington. That's down to 5.5, 5, 4.5.
Yeah.
Total of the game is 44. Don't go too Dallas. Oh, Dallas, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, it was like they were playing 11 against 7. I mean, the Giants' defense was so bad. And when Washington comes out of the gate with a monster lead, let it get away, but their offense can produce points. And it's the big rivalry. Keenum was fine. I see the number. I understand why the number's coming down.
Yeah, no, I do too. I wouldn't want to lay it down with Dallas. Divisional game, Brian. I need a little bit more. If you gave me the Skins at 7, I probably would have pulled the trigger at 5. It's a little less appetizing. Tough game. You're right. Keenum played his ass off. He had really good fantasy numbers, and just at the end of that game, after that first Deshaun Jackson touchdown, it kind of took the wind out of Washington's sails. They were beating Philadelphia on the road 17-0. They were kicking their ass. So that's tough. To me, I'm gonna pass on this game right now, but I would have a lean to the home dog.
And then, listen, you got the Jags in this spot.
That game's going to be off the board, though, right? Because, Mitchell, you guys got a line. Oh, I'm listening.
Yeah, Houston there's no total.
Okay.
And Houston's got to play tonight, but Houston, a 9.5-point favorite. And, the Jags were competitive, but they lose Foles during the course of the game, which is a punch to the gut. And
I like Jacksonville there.
How about
too many points? Minshew played well.
By the way,
that kid from Washington State played well for a 6th-round draft pick.
Did you see his numbers? 22 of 25
on the road
for 275. No, they were home.
Rounder.
They were home.
Sorry, home. Sorry.
But I mean, that's pretty.
You're right. It's
Anyway,
9.5.
I will tell you though. All summer long, and now that ship has sailed with Foles being hurt. Said don't sleep on Jacksonville. The talent's there. You got a quarterback that won't lose the games that Bortles lost. The one thing they got to do is be disciplined and calm down. And can they rein these whack-a-moles in? And Miles Jack gets ejected from the game, and they're pushing and shoving after every whistle. This team's a disaster.
They are a disaster. No discipline on the team. It's amazing. Coughlin's going to flip his lid. The opposite of how he wants things to be run. But I'll tell you, laying 10 points with Houston seems like a big task to me, Brian. I just want to say one thing. I found 2 games already that I'm already going to be betting Indy. I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. I will tell you this. The Pittsburgh Steelers at home will murder them at 3.5. Jump on this game now.
Yeah.
Seattle had problems with Cincinnati. I watched the whole game. Cincinnati should have won. They got pressure on Wilson. I think this is the play of the week. This line will go up to 4.5. I'm telling you, people, like, the Steelers, after that loss to the Patriots, they should be able to beat the Seahawks. I'm thinking by 8 to 11 points. I think this is probably one of the games of the week. I hate to say it, Pittsburgh should kill Seattle. I'm not sure if you agree.
I absolutely agree. 47's the total game, and there's a number of reasons why. Smith-Schuster is listed as questionable. Pittsburgh's got a bevy of wide receivers. They got Connor and Roethlisberger. They walked into a buzzsaw against the Patriots. But you know what, Cam? Bunch of things. West Coast team, traveling east, early football game, but the 0-2 thing, right? And on top of it, Seattle, gets the win last week, but it's a non-conference game. Pittsburgh has to win this game.
They do, and I'm telling you, from watching the Cincinnati Bengals do a lot of good things against Seattle, it's concerning. This game is at Pittsburgh, bad place to play. You talked about it, early start. Seattle's secondary, not the same. They have problems scoring points. The Pittsburgh defense will be very, very angry. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh punched them in the teeth and won this game by 17. I think 3.5. So far, Brian, probably the game of the week. I'd bet the Steelers now, and I'd bet it hard.
The way the way Cincinnati played at Seattle, and we've sat here and said that Tampa gave the game to San Francisco. Are you surprised San Francisco's a 2-point road favorite?
Oh, but people aren't going to bet the Bengals. But I will. Watching San Francisco, you said it, Brian. Are you not taking the Bengals in this spot? I know Joe Mixon might be out. Andy Dalton looked pretty good in the game. I think Taylor did a good job with his team. Bernard came in. He knows he's going to be the back if there's injuries. Ross, the first-round draft pick, I know he went to the University of Washington, so in Seattle's backyard, played a great game. Cincinnati was marching the ball up and down on Seattle. Seattle very lucky to win that game. I think San Francisco's a train wreck. I can't believe they beat Tampa Bay. Right now, I'd look at the points with the Bengals.
Then you get Minnesota and Green Bay. Great game. 3-point favorite. Green Bay at home. Totals 45.5.
Oh, boy.
Both teams come in 1-0. And, Green Bay gets the big road division win. The one thing I would say is Green Bay, a little extra time to prepare, playing on Thursday.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to take Minnesota in this spot, getting the 3 points. I think that's huge. I'm surprised if you can find a 2.5 out there. I believe in Minnesota. I think Dalvin Cook, Cousins is going to have a big year. The defense was great. I know Atlanta had their problems, and Julio Jones, you know what, Brian? It's one of those things. What have we seen in week one? These teams that weren't ready to go, guys who signed contracts. Ryan and Jones had no chemistry in that game. Every ball that was thrown to him was either deflected, tipped, or intercepted. Minnesota was all over Atlanta's offense. I want to take them against Green Bay, getting 3 points. Very, very difficult game, but I lean with the Vikings right now, getting 3.
KC, and we'll see what Oakland does against Denver, but KC, an opener of 9.5 at Oakland, but Tyreek Hill is out.
Yeah, that changes things. I won't be rushing to the window to bet the Raiders, but the Chiefs, and when you really look at that game with Jacksonville did a lot of things, and that was with Gardner Minshew, as I mentioned before. This is not even like a prospect, a 6th-round draft pick out of Washington State, a system quarterback that came in there and kicked ass against the Chiefs and kept his team in the game, if not for the Kansas City offense. We know they're going to score some points, Brian, but their defense still is a work in progress. So I won't be rushing the window to bet Oakland, but maybe the over in this football game.
And then New Orleans and the Rams, the big rematch. Rams get the win in the opener. We'll see New Orleans on Monday night.
You got to take the Saints there. It almost seems like a Hollywood movie, right? Whatever it is, they got screwed by this team. Are they going to go out and win? No really home field advantage. Wouldn't you take the Saints, Brian?
Well, I want to see what the Saints look like tonight, but certainly, the revenge aspect of it, no doubt. The one thing I would watch is, let's find out what New Orleans' plan of attack is here, because New Orleans has to fly, play the Rams, and then play at Seattle the next week. Do they stay on the West Coast?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. Yeah, it's a tough game. You're right. We're gonna have to take a look at what the Saints look like in this game. But I'll tell you, Brian. I know there's something about the Rams. I don't know what it is. Maybe you could tell me. I'm just not sold on this team the way other people are. I think they're good, but I really don't think they're elite. And I'll tell you one thing, with the money that they pay to the people, any type of big injury, their depth is a big concern. If anything bad happens to any key player, they're in big, big trouble.
Other than to say right now there's a number of pick out there, Chicago, Denver, you can't really formulate an opinion. Let's see what Denver looks like in the Monday night game. Chicago's defense is terrific, but the offense, some questions.
Yeah, I think Chicago, though, it's one of those things, great defensive battle. When you look at Chicago and Denver, who's going to blink first? Denver, very tough place to play still. Their defense is great. The Bears' defense, Mitchell Trubisky, a horrible week one. He's going to have to redeem himself. Tough game, but I'd be leaning the Bears. But I can tell you one thing, like the Pittsburgh game, Brian, I would already say this. I don't like going against home dogs. I've already found another game that I will bet at this point when we're taping this. The Cleveland Browns, after that horrible, horrible performance, will do enough to beat the New York Jets. Take it on the money line if you like it, minus 30, or I see 2 and 2.5s out there. So I got to believe. I know the Jets lost a heartbreaker. Cleveland's bad, but now everyone's thinking, oh, the Browns. Overreactions again. They still have talent on that team, and they should be able to do enough to beat the Jets. I like the Browns on Monday night.
I do too, and we got one other game, but let's since you brought it up, let's stick with that game. The Bills were down 16-0. Came roaring back in the second half of that game. The hidden nugget in here, C.J. Mosley had an interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah, he did. Good call. Good call.
Mosley was in there. I had them at my beck and call. I don't. Can I find it real quick? Anyway, trust me, the numbers are ungodly. When Mosley was in the lineup, the Bills were struggling. Mosley pulled a groin. He's out. When Mosley went out, the Bills' offense took off. Mosley is not there. I'm with you. The Browns roll.
Yeah, I'm with the Browns. And tough one, Brian. Last game on the board. What are we going to do with this Philadelphia-Atlanta game? Atlanta looked awful. Do you think 1 week's enough to get back into it? Philadelphia looked like junk in the first half of that game, and then really came out guns a-blazing to come back and erase a 17-point deficit against Washington. Eagles are a very, very good club. Laying only 1 against Atlanta. What do you think about this game? Very tough.
Right now, I would say I'd be playing over 51. Now, yes. Atlanta is nothing's changed. Atlanta is horrible on the road, and they're a video game at home. And Minnesota. I mean, Atlanta's defense looks so bad. Philly is going to score. Right? But Atlanta at home, not on the road, and the crowd not working against them, Atlanta's going to score. It's a high total, but honestly, it's a game to me that looks like it's in the 30s.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think both teams, it looks like a 31-27 type of game to go over the number, maybe even 34-31. I think we can get there. I lean over, and I kind of lean Atlanta as a home dog where people are going to jump on Philadelphia. I might take the point with Atlanta and the over, Brian.
Well, and the one thing I would say, Cam, honestly, it's tough to trust it, but you're trusting an angle, and that's Philly got the win in a division game. Atlanta, that's a tough assignment, right? Going to Minnesota.
It is.
You can't just write these guys off. But again, I will go back to the Atlanta's going to play this game like it's a playoff game. If you go 0-2, the odds say you missed the playoffs.
Correct.
So honestly, it's like a horse race. You got to draw a line to it, say it was a bad race. It's Atlanta at home in their home opener. I'd say Atlanta in the over.
Me too. I like Atlanta, and the thing about it is too. You bring up the good points. All this stuff happened with Julio Jones and whatever. They have now they have some time to work out a couple wrinkles. Minnesota was ready too because all the hype. They talk about Minnesota too. They needed to get out of the gate in their home opener and win a big game. Atlanta just was flat in that game. They're not going to be flat at home. I'm with you, Brian. Falcons over Eagles and the over.
Last thing I'll say about it, and we'll let everybody get on their very merry way. But that's, when you're on the road and the crowd noise, there are large stretches of that game where Matt Ryan was a crash test dummy.
He was.
And then they were still in the game, and he made one of the worst passes. You talk about the nonsensical pass our friend in Tampa made.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, they got the ball on the 2-yard line. He rolled out. It was like 1st and goal or 2nd and goal at the 1, and he rolls a 3rd and goal at the 1. And it's, they didn't run it, but they tried the play action thing. No one was open. Throw it in the stands, and he threw it to the corner of the end zone and was intercepted, or they would have scored more. But the crowd noise, I guess, is what I was going to get at, that Ryan was under duress the whole game. When the crowd on the road is going nuts and your offensive linemen are sketchy and they're tentative, and the other at home, they're not the visiting the Eagles are not going to have that jump off the ball. Ryan will have time to throw this week that he did not have time to throw in Minnesota. I think points galore.
Couldn't agree more, too. And we're taking a team that got throttled with a nice little number, getting a point with these guys, Brian. So my lean so far in these games, I think Indy is good. I told you I'm going to unload on Pittsburgh. Hate to bet against my team in Seattle, but that's a bad spot for the Seahawks, who were lucky to beat the Bengals. Pittsburgh's going to lick them up, wipe the floor with them after what happened with New England. I like that. Lean to Atlanta and the over. And, those are the picks that we're going to roll with, buddy. That's what I like so far.
I like the Atlanta and the over a little bit. Among the others, I think the Chargers laying a field goal. I'd bet that now. That may go up, but Detroit's a dog's breakfast.
Yeah, I right now I got Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Atlanta, and then I'm going to throw the lightning bolts on there too, Brian.
Yeah, you got it, pal.
It's tough. It's tough though. Like Detroit at home, but I don't know. After what they did, yeah, you're right. Like the Chargers should be able to take care of business there.
The one thing, and we'll wrap it up with this. I've said this before, and now we're here. There are 2 weeks in the NFL that are a gong show. Week 17. The guys getting rested and blah, blah, blah. But week 2, there is that totally teams just they were shaking off rust. Things just didn't work. They make adjustments. They fix problems for starters. But then there's the motivational aspect of week 2 specifically. Yeah, you want to win every game. But that is so well known around the league, Cam, that if you're 0-2, 87% of the time you miss the playoffs, no one wants to start 0-2, and the team that's playing with a losing record against a team that's won their first game, those teams are playing it like it's the conference championship game.
No, you're right. And look at the teams that I'm going to be taking next week. All of them. Pittsburgh lost the opener. Cleveland and yep. Teams not just who lost, who got beaten down despite Indianapolis, who played their asses off and lost a heartbreaker, and Atlanta. So Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta all got their hearts ripped out. They got pummeled, and now these teams are going to be in a way better position, and we're probably getting inflated points because of people what they saw in week 1. I'm in.
You're the man. Good stuff.
Nice talking to you too, Brian. Hopefully I don't get Detroit lioned again this week. That one really hurt. Made some really good picks with the Bills and whatever, but it's the one that sticks out, right? So it just breaks your heart when you're betting on these games. You're going to lose games. That's what happens when you bet. But when your teams piss away 18-point leads, throw 2 pick sixes on the only games that you lost that you invested big in, that's what drives you nuts. You don't mind losing bets. You just don't want to be, and maybe we got to start staying away from just teams with bad quarterbacks, and because they'll break your heart every time with those pick sixes.
Yeah, I didn't get, Billy clubbed on the Lions game like you did, but we were both on the Bucks. The Bucks gave that game away. And it was the coach. 4th and goal at the 2. Kick the field goal. It's a 3-point game. Like, you don't have Joe Montana back there. Just take the points where you can get them. Whatever. Literally, because that idiot throw that he made, that never would have happened.
Exactly.
Because if Arians would have kicked the field goal the 2 possessions earlier, then the next possession, they were already in field goal range.
I know. And that's the thing. Their defense played a good game. San Francisco did nothing in that game. For Tampa Bay to have this bad defense, they played their asses off at home. And, Jameis Winston and Arians cost them that game. Very simple.
Did you say, honestly, on the picks, the other one is Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati, I'd look at them.
I have a lean to Cincinnati against the Niners big time too. Watch that game against Seattle. Actually, Cincinnati did some really good things in that game. The defense came out. They were hungry, Brian. Seattle, very lucky to win as a 10-point favorite.
All right, my friend. Cam Stewart, Brian Blessing, we love doing this. There you have it. It's an advanced look, a recap of week 1, and a look ahead to week 2 in the NFL.
Let's make some money tonight.
Well, that's the Betmaker Show for now. We publish multiple times each week. We'd like to thank you for listening, and if you liked what you heard, please take a moment to leave a rating and review, or subscribe to our show feed, or share our show with a friend or two and help us grow the show. We very much appreciate it. Visit us on the web at betmaker.com, and reminder to sign up for the newsletter. Thanks to our engineer, Darren Vandermolen, and producer, Mike Gallivan. The Betmaker Show is a production of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated. Betmaker is a registered trademark. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this content without the express written consent of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At Betmaker.com and the Betmaker Show, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling. An approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.